Hello and welcome to Preacher to Teacher. My name is Terry, and today we're talking about differentiation in preparation for tests. Don't know what that is? Stick around. Let's talk. Well, as I was preparing to interview to become a teacher, I was doing all this research and I learned this word differentiation, and I had no clue what that is. And so I did research on it and watched videos, and discovered that differentiation is the way we use different learning techniques that are student-based to help those with different learning styles be able to learn content. So I had no idea how to do that practically, right? It's one thing to know that this idea exists. It's another thing to know how to practically implement that approach. So I became a teacher, and it was time for the first test. I gave out a study guide and had the students work on that individually, and it was moderately successful. Then I began to do group work where they're helping each other with it and talking and having conversation a little bit more effective. And that made me happy. I had a student come and talk to me to say, Mr. Wayman, there's this gaming thing called GimKit. Could we do that? Could you set up this? Because I'm not really an avid reader. And so I set up GimKit, gimkit.com if you've not been there. And man, it was really successful for kids that struggled with reading. So much so that I paid the annual membership fee for that. And so that was really successful, began to use that. And what I then discovered is that some students struggle at a level of reading that is much deeper. And I learned that just this past semester. Just a couple days ago, actually. And so I began to implement oral elements where I read these questions out loud to students so that they could hear the questions and answers and begin to engage in the material that way. But I still am missing a critical component that, as I thought about differentiation and preparing for tests, that I was missing, and that's students teaching students. That if the student is talking, the student is the one doing the learning. So I know that there are these four elements, right? Paper-based, group-based, audible-based or oral-based, and then student teaching-based. And these are different ways to differentiate preparing students for tests. Now, I know that at the end of your average lesson, there's not going to probably be space to implement all four of these differentiated test preparations for every topic. However, when you're preparing for an end-of-course exam, there should be an opportunity for you at the end to have space in your lesson planning to do differentiated preparation for that end-of-course exam or EOC. And so what I put on the board beside me is the state pass rate, our district pass rate, and my pass rate. And my ultimate goal is over 70%. And my hope is that come the fall, that we'll be able to move that up to 70%. My first semester passed the EOC or end of course exam for government at a rate of 63%. This semester we were at 65%, and I'm hopeful that as I begin to have students engage in teaching and then add more of the oral content so that the students can hear the content, that will bump me up to 70%. Still learning, still growing. It's a real, honest, raw look at my mistakes and the things that I'm learning along with you. And I hope this transparent look at the things I was doing wrong in preparing students for, or maybe not so much wrong, but incomplete in preparing students for testing. It'll be helpful for you to consider all the different ways that exist for us to prepare kids for their final exam. I hope this has been helpful content for you. I want to remind you, you matter. And if you don't hear it, I want you to know that what you do in relationship with your students matters. You are making a difference every day, and I appreciate what you're doing. Well, if you like this content today, would you hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you can be made aware of when new content goes live. Thanks for spending a few moments with me today. Have a great week.